When I was 10, my new neighbor had a collection of wrestling VHS tapes in his basement. His dad told us not to go down there. We went anyway. Most of the tapes were labeled, but a few just said Wrestling Tape 1, Wrestling Tape 2. I put one in. The screen showed a red room, red walls, red floor, red ceiling, a single wooden chair, and screaming from somewhere just off camera. Then a man in a mask walked in front of the lens. In a cheerful voice he said, "Stay tuned. You'll want to see what happens next." I want to say up front that for most of my life, I didn't think of this story as scary, just strange, slightly unsettling. One of those things you file away and bring out at gatherings. It's only recently that I started thinking about it differently. Now I find it genuinely horrifying. I was in 5th grade, 10 years old, a lot of friends. My parents called me a social butterfly. In the middle of the school year, a new kid joined the class. His name was Alfred. He was a little awkward in the way every new kid is awkward when they arrive halfway through the year. And he had the specific bad luck of having a name that a group of 10-year-olds found hilarious. Alfred. Like Batman's butler, which got shortened. You can imagine the rest. He took the teasing without much visible reaction, just absorbed it and went about his life. I respected that about him even then. The reason I had a soft spot for Alfred was that his family moved into the house directly next door to mine. We rode the bus together, walked home together. In those short walks, I realized we had something in common that none of my other friends shared. We both loved professional wrestling. My other friends thought it was embarrassing. For Alfred and me, it was something close to sacred. We bonded over it for a couple of months without ever actually hanging out. One Friday afternoon, my mom got off the phone and told me she'd been talking to Alfred's mom. Alfred had been struggling. Nobody was kind to him except me. His mom had asked my mom if I could come over for a sleepover. I liked the kid, but I didn't particularly want to sleep at his house. My mom had already said yes. I knew better than to fight it. I went over late afternoon. His parents were genuinely warm. His dad was wearing a wrestling shirt and immediately started doing impressions and talking matches with me. I was honestly having a great time. This was going better than I expected. As it got late, his parents said they were going to bed. We could stay up as long as we wanted. Just 2 rules: don't be loud and don't go in the basement. I asked Alfred why we couldn't go to the basement. He said his dad had equipment down there for work that was dangerous. I thought that was a little odd, but I let it go. We hung out for a while, and eventually Alfred fell asleep. I couldn't sleep. I never sleep well in unfamiliar places. At some point during the night, I heard Alfred's dad come downstairs. I pretended to be asleep. A few seconds later, I heard him walk to a door in the connecting hallway, close it behind him, footsteps descending. A while later, I started hearing a muffled sound through the vent near my head, like a TV, but staticky, distorted, not quite right. I lay there listening and couldn't make out any specific sounds, just that distorted fuzz from the vent. It went on for close to an hour. Then the sound stopped. Footsteps on the stairs. He walked through the living room and went back upstairs. I fell asleep not long after. Morning. Alfred's dad was making breakfast, back to his warm, outgoing self, talking wrestling over eggs. He mentioned he had a massive collection of wrestling shows on VHS in the basement. Alfred lit up and said I had to see some of these matches. His dad offered. If my parents said it was okay, I could stay another night and he'd grab some tapes for us to watch. I said yes immediately. I even thought to myself, that must be what he was doing in the basement the night before, watching old wrestling. That would explain the old TV static sound coming through the vent. Everything made sense. My mom said I could stay. Alfred started describing matches I'd never seen. I was genuinely excited. And then I had an idea. I told Alfred I heard his dad go down there the night before, and it sounded like he was watching something. Maybe we should go down and look at the collection. Alfred looked nervous, said we really shouldn't go down there, especially without his dad. I told him we'd go down, look at the tapes, and be back upstairs before his dad got home. He was reluctant. He agreed. I think he just wanted to be agreeable with me because our friendship was still new and fragile, and he didn't want to say no to something I clearly wanted to do. That still bothers me sometimes. We went into the basement. It looked like any old basement. Dark, cold, unfinished concrete. Then at the back of the room, I saw a door. Yellow wood with spray paint on it. The spray paint said, "Get out." I pointed to it. Alfred said it was like that when they moved in. His dad thought it was cool. He approached the yellow door and said the tapes were stored behind it. He opened it, an entire wall of shelves, hundreds of VHS tapes, each one labeled with a piece of tape. Wrestling event, year, organized and cataloged the way a serious collector would do it. On the opposite wall, an older TV with a VCR. This was where he'd been the night before. I started running my fingers along the shelves. Every tape was detailed and specific, except for a few. Scattered among the hundreds of properly labeled tapes, a small number with generic labels. Wrestling tape 1, wrestling tape 2, wrestling tape 3. Every other tape had a specific event name and date. These ones had nothing. Something about that inconsistency sat wrong with me in a way I couldn't articulate. I grabbed the one labeled Wrestling Tape 2 and went to the VCR. Alfred asked what I was doing. I told him I just wanted to see what was on it. He told me to hurry up so we wouldn't get caught. I put the tape in. No wrestling. Static. Then the static resolved into an image. Everything on screen was red. Red walls, red floor, red ceiling. In the center of the frame, a single wooden chair, empty. The image sat there. Nothing moved. But in the background, screaming. Not theatrical screaming. Not the kind of sound you hear in movies. The kind of sound that goes into a specific part of your brain and stays there. I am an adult now, and I can still hear it if I let myself think about it for too long. I don't let myself very often. Just as I reached for the eject button, a man in a mask walked into the frame. He looked directly into the camera. In an unmistakably cheerful voice, he said, "Stay tuned. You'll want to see what happens next." He started laughing, and the screaming from just off camera got louder. Alfred stopped the VCR. We looked at each other for 1 second. Then we ran. Up the stairs as fast as we could. Neither of us said a single word. Alfred's dad came home and was acting exactly like he had been all weekend. Goofy, warm, talking wrestling. He told us to give him a few minutes and he'd find us some matches to watch. He went downstairs. I suddenly remembered I had left the tape in the VCR. I didn't say anything to Alfred. An hour passed. His dad came back upstairs. He wasn't acting goofy anymore. He wasn't warm. He came into the living room with a completely different face and told me I needed to go home, then walked away. Alfred tried asking what was happening. I just left. I felt too uncomfortable in that house to stay another second. Whatever his dad found when he went downstairs and saw the VCR, I didn't want to know the answer to that. Monday. Alfred wasn't in school. When I got home, I went next door to check on him. He answered the door. He had clearly been crying. He said the family was moving immediately. His dad had gotten a new job. I asked if he was okay. He looked at me for a strangely long moment, then said he was fine in a voice that didn't sound fine at all. His dad appeared behind him. Alfred said he had to go and closed the door. The next day he was gone. The teacher announced he wasn't coming back. Nobody cared. Years later, I told the story to a group of friends at a gathering. One of them immediately went pale and started telling me about something called the Red Room. Only accessible on the dark web. Content so disturbing, I won't describe what it contained. I said this was VHS, before the internet had video. My friend suggested that maybe what I saw was an early version, before it moved online. I dismissed it. Then more people over more years said the same thing. We tried finding Alfred on social media. He doesn't exist. His family was there, and then they weren't, and there is no trace of them. I genuinely hope what I saw in that room was a fabricated home movie. Something weird and disturbing, but ultimately fake. Because the alternative, that a cheerful man who made wrestling impressions over breakfast, that a dad who offered to find cool old matches for his son's new friend. I can't finish that thought. I just can't sit with it.